Guys, everybody is running to Africa right now. Everybody. Everybody's running away from the UK, France, and the US.
Sometimes I ask myself, here in Germany, some people in Africa, they want to sell their house, sell your car, sell your garden, sell your property to get money to go to Europe. People in Africa, yeah, that is people in Africa. People in Europe, they are working to go back to Africa, to build their house, to buy houses, to buy a garden, to buy that. So in this world, where is good?
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren
and I'm Maureen.
Right, so guys, in today's episode we've put together a compilation of videos for you, and the speakers in this video have mentioned very important things, to say the least. And one of them was asking, right now you've noticed a trend where a lot of Africans are literally putting their lives on the line so that they can get to the first world, okay? That is Europe, America, you know, a lot of Africans. And you're also seeing this trend or wave where a lot of Westerners from Europe, from the US, people are
selling everything to come to Africa.
Exactly. So you ask yourself, where is the balance? Where do you find that good life?
Yeah, so you know, in this episode, some Africans who have moved abroad are going to be explaining the reason why Africans who are left in the continent should not sell everything they have to make the move to Europe, because then they're already there and they know what it's like. And others are also saying the reason why Westerners are selling everything to come to Africa,
while Africans, the heavy price they have to pay because they're trying to make it difficult also for the people from the West
to come to Africa. So they're trying to do everything they can to keep you trapped in America or in Europe, you know. In Babylon.
Yeah. So guys, anyways, let's watch this video for context, then we come back and talk about it. You can leave us your comment on what you think about this episode. Also consider subscribing.
Yeah, just let us know. Do you support those who are making the move to the first world countries, considering factors to do with politics, economy, and just generally how the world is right now? So which group do you support? Those ones that are saying do not sell everything to go to Europe, or those ones who are saying Europeans should try as much as possible right now to sell everything they have to come and acquire land and possessions here in Africa?
And I guess the big question today is, where is that green pasture, right? You know, when they used to talk about the land of milk and honey and greener pastures,
most often be referred to America.
Right.
And so, for us Africans, if you can't get to America, try to get yourself to the European countries or other developed countries.
Right. I feel like I already have my answer to this question, but I'd really love to hear from you guys. Let's watch and then we come back and talk about it.
Guys, everybody is running to Africa right now. Everybody. Everybody's running away from the UK, France, and the US. And the reason is actually quite surprising. Now, I didn't know about this thing called an exit tax. I made a few videos about it if you've seen those videos. But at the end of this month, there is a budget that's being introduced in the UK, new budgets at the end of October. And there's rumors that within this budget, there is a new exit. It's being called an exit tax, but it's basically capital gains adjustment. So capital gains tax already exists, which is a tax on your assets like houses, stocks, any assets that you have, and the profit on those assets. So it's basically the difference between what you originally got it for and what you can sell it for, the value of it at that point of you selling it or leaving. So what they're saying is that they're now going to start taxing people who want to leave the country for good. So if you're trying to leave, you know, the cost of living crisis is happening and you're trying to get out of the country, they're going to tax you. Now, I made the video about this and people started telling me that, hey, by the way, why are you only talking about UK and US? They have the same thing in Canada. Then another person messaged me and said, why are you only talking about, they have the same thing in Germany? I then started looking into it, and this thing is everywhere. It already exists, and it's not so much that it's specifically about people leaving the country, but it affects you if you're trying to leave. Those are the people it affects the most. If you're trying to leave the country, you're going to get hit, especially if you haven't had the assets for a long time. So if it's less than a year, you're in big trouble in America, for example. Now, the interesting thing about it is I'm making the Back to Africa handbook. Everybody, if you want to know all of everything you need to know about relocating to Africa, visiting Africa, all of those things, because all the questions that you keep asking me in my DMs about what's the best country for me, how do I get citizenship, schools, healthcare, safety, security, all of that stuff is in the handbook, linked in my profile bio. You go to my profile bio, you'll find it there. That being said, I then realized that, I delayed the release because I want to put all this stuff in there. But the problem is every time that I think that I've got it, I get some new information that then makes me want to say that, wait, I need to add this in. At this point, I think I just have to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not going to put anything more into this thing. It's already now, it was supposed to be 10 pages. It then went up to 60 pages. Now it's probably going to be like 70 pages at this point. It's an ebook, so don't worry. It goes straight to your email inbox when you get it. But I've got to put this in there because the thing is, if you're trying to leave and you've done well for yourself, you have any kind of assets, you're in big trouble. Go to the link in my profile, guys. Check it out. Get on the wait list.
I regret coming to the United
what the topic
States.
is about, and I actually do regret coming to the US. Hear me out. I know that I'm in an amazing PhD program. I have an amazing advisor. I have amazing lab members. I'm advancing my career by being in this PhD program, but I still feel like I regret coming to the US. This is literally the first time I am saying this out. I have always thought about it in my head. I've always talked about it in the shower, but I've never spoken about it outside. I've never told anyone that I regret coming to the United. I think I had this conversation with my dad one time when we were just catching up, and that was. So I'm going to explain. Prior to moving to the United States for my master's program in 2018, I used to run an NGO back in Nigeria called Project 17, where we advocate for sustainable development goals. That was the best thing that happened to me. In fact, I was running Project 17 full-time after I had quit on my job, my full-time job. I had a full-time job, which I only worked for like 2 months. That story for another day. But I started working on Project 17 full-time. In fact, a day before I was coming to the United States, I won an award, yes, an award based on my work with Project 17. So coming into the US, even I was excited to get my master's. I wanted more knowledge and I also wanted to advance in my career. But since I got here, I felt like I have lost myself. Prior to coming here, I was so vocal about climate change, climate action. I was also very vocal about achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, which are United Nations goals. But since I got here, I have been a little bit more into my shell. I don't know if that was part of like the new culture and new environment that I find myself in. And why I brought up all this was because I am currently preparing for a program that I had orchestrated and I had planned for my department to celebrate Women's Month this March, which is coming up in next week. And I find myself, having panic attack and thinking, oh my God, are you going to do well or are you going to flop? Is everybody going to see that you're not who you say you are when you were applying to your PhD program? Is your advisor going to be disappointed in you? Those thoughts just keeps flooding my head, and I'm like, you got it. Like, you ran a successful NGO where you were being recognized by the government, the private sector, and all of this, but now you're bothering yourself and you're, having many panic attacks over an event that you're going to moderate. Like, how? I'm not sure if I'm the only one who feels this way or if anyone also feels this way at this.
Here are my least favorite things about living in America. Hi, my name is Johanna. Before you tell me, oh, go back to where you came from, what, I already did a list of my favorite things about living here. Maybe you should go watch it and then come back. Lack of public transport in most cities. I mean, like, even a city as big as New York, the public transport is still not that great. Okay, I'm comparing it to like China, Tokyo. What I'm saying is they could do better. Are they doing better? No. Number 2 is the bank. Okay, so I went to open a bank account the other day, right? I go to the bank, I bring my documents and everything, I apply for an account, and then I have to go home and wait for almost a week to get my card. In Uganda, I go to the bank, I open a bank account, and I walk out with my card. If a third world country can figure that out, I think America should do something about that. Number 3 is the consumerism. Okay, listen, I do love me some consumerism. The American side of TikTok, it's a little bit overwhelming with the ads. Like, let's keep calm, please. Number 4 is definitely the food. I mean, I do love the portions, don't get me wrong. All healthy foods, they're very expensive. So I feel like it's really unfair that people end up just eating like cereal. I'm not saying that cereal is unhealthy, but you shouldn't be eating that much sugar. Like the unhealthy options are cheaper than the healthy options, which I think is kind of like vice versa. Like in Uganda, processed food is more expensive than the whole food. More about the consumerism. The options are just too much. We do love options around here, but then again, we don't need 1,000 options now, do we? You're more likely to make the wrong choice. Number 5, this might be just like specific for Las Vegas. People here are always ready to sue. Like the lawyers even have billboards. No fees until you win. Like, what is going on in this country? Business has been able to survive until this day because everyone is ready to milk a business. We do love some accountability, but should I do a red lip? No, that would be too much, right? This is the finished look. Oh, I just remembered one more thing. The me culture. Me, this.
In this world, where is good? Yeah? Like here, me, I'm very okay in Germany. Yeah, before I was saying, I want to go back to Kenya. I want to go buy house. I get my pension. I want to go to Kenya. I want to do that. But life is not like that, how you think. Only God can know your life. Only God can plan your life. So sometimes you can sell everything. You come here, you see, you wanted, like there was one man from Kenya. He was working in Afghanistan. And people lied to this man. And the people told this man, you pay money, we bring you to Germany to work. So when this man came here in Germany, after sold everything to pay agent to come here, after he alive here in Germany, no agent. The next step, to take refugee. 3 days, this man called me. Say, Alice, I cannot stay here. Alice, I'm going back to Kenya. He was having depression. He don't work. He sold his thing in Kenya. So before you think about selling your things, about leaving that business to come Germany, me, I always say, if you have, if you earn 100 Kenya shillings, if you earn, don't come here. Here you can get money, yeah? Let's say you can get like 1,500 euros. Then you have to pay. Every month you pay. You pay everything, you pay everything. Then you look your pocket. You have something like that Kenya shillings, 40. That is nothing. If you pay everything, you work here. But if you get that money, you pay. Hapa kila kitu pesa. You have to pay. You can see so many people, they are not going back home. Why? Because they work, they have money. But to get that money, to get ticket, and the money to go to use in Africa, they don't have. So what is better in life? What is better in life? What do you think is better? To stay there where you are with your business or your job. If you earn 70,000 plus up, don't come here. Yeah, don't come here. Stay there and eat what you have. If you have a house, you earn small money, just stay there. Because nowadays you come here, you suffer all to get papers. You will suffer all to get papers.
So guys, welcome back. I feel like this is a conversation that was much needed, right? And you guys, I'd like to hear your reasoning. You know, for Africans who sell a lot of, this happens, yeah? Especially,
they sell everything they own, everything they have.
And that is someone who does not recognize how rich you are. You know, for you to be rich, I feel like it doesn't have to be monetary. You understand? So for someone, you have land,
in Africa, you have land, you're rich.
An ancestral land, you are rich. You have a house, you have a business, all right? But I feel like these are the kind of people who suffer from the colonized mindset, because
they believe the land of milk and honey not being in Africa, but being elsewhere outside the continent.
Right, and that's why such people, they literally give up everything, to the extent where, you guys, as I mentioned, the documentaries that people normally, they show how Africans and other people who are not from the West, how they get smuggled into these countries, and some of them end up losing their lives in transit, right? That is someone who does not think they can be able to build a life,
future for themselves here in Africa.
Exactly. Whereas you have this situation where a lot of Westerners are trying to move into Africa, okay? And you're like, you know, just sit down and ask yourself, why is it that you're trying so much to go into these first world countries, and you see
right now they're
making the transition to come back to come to Africa, not to come back, to come into Africa, okay?
Yeah, and another interesting fact that I got from this video, the brother who was talking about exit tax, you know, he says it was introduced a while back, yeah? But guys, you know, even before war comes, military personnel, they usually know when war is coming. Normal civilians don't know and are not told of the fact. Just like I was watching something that because of climate change, cities that are in oceans, cities that are being bordered around oceans or seas are going to be underground, if anything, because even ice in Iceland, the icebergs are melting, you know. So those cities are going to be underground. And the person who was saying this piece of information, he was saying that the military personnel already knows this, you know. So, you know, my biggest question today, guys, please let us know what you think about this, is why, and it is not only in Europe only, it's also in America, it's also in Canada, and right now they're having conflict with the East, you know. So why did they introduce this tax right now when a lot of Westerners are looking into making a move outside of these first world countries? My own personal opinion, it's not a fact, but it's just something that I'm thinking, right? For them to introduce this exit tax, I feel like they're trying to keep Westerners from moving out of these countries, their countries. Because now if they go,
trying to save face.
Yes. Now if they go, who will they rule over? And when war comes to these Eastern countries, or I mean European countries or America, you know, we've even seen with the fake Jews, when they attack people, they hide behind their civilians. They shield themselves with the civilians. So now if all of you come here, where will BN Netanyahu, who will he hide behind? Because you know now the person he's warring with will go straight to him. But right now they're using the civilians to shield themselves. I feel like this is the reason why they are preventing most people from living, especially the ones who can't like afford the luxury of selling their things and paying tax for those things in order for them to get out of these places, especially when war comes.
And you guys, did you realize, if I can take you back a little bit, the lady from Kenya who lives in Germany, and she was talking about the man who literally sold everything to be taken to Germany.
He had a business, he had land.
In his mind, he was told there are great opportunities in Germany. When you go to Germany, you'll make a lot of wealth. You're gonna be doing well. What nobody tells such kind of people is that
the amount of tax that's being paid
exactly, much as there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of money to be made that can really literally make you a millionaire and sustain you here in Africa. What they don't tell you is the number of bills that make it impossible for you to be able to save in the first world countries. Can we talk about that? Because this is an African in Germany who's talking about when you're paid, for example, 1,500 euros. You'll pay this, pay that, pay what. At the end of the day, whatever you're left with, it can't even afford you.
Yeah, it can't even afford you the luxury of buying a plane ticket to come and visit your family back in Africa.
And then let's go back to Black Americans, guys. You know, I like comparing situations and scenarios, you know. There was a point in life where people used to talk about how Black Americans are lazy. That was the propaganda being fed, all right, to the general population outside America or palm color dominated, you know, areas. And I remember at some point where we used to hear African Americans complain about how life was so difficult for them to even be able to save enough to get out of the country if they wanted to go and at least enjoy a different kind of life or explore different opportunities
outside of their countries.
Exactly. And you're like, the system deliberately keeps them down inside. They don't want you to get out and realize you've been lied to your whole entire existence.
Yeah, because you know, when she said the 1,500 euro point, okay, right now in Africa, it's not that things are cheap, but it's cheaper than, I believe, what Westerners are used to in their countries.
You can breathe.
Yeah, right now you can still breathe, although the kind of politicians we have right now, they're trying everything to sink to make the system that makes Africa work, you know. So, like, I was thinking, you know, 1,500 euros in Kenyan shillings, it is around 211,000 shillings, right?
So let's break it down for them, for those who've never been to Africa or Kenya. Let's talk about Kenya because it's modern and it's normally compared. When you talk about in the south of Africa, you talk about South Africa. West
the
of
east
Africa,
of Africa, Kenya is the,
you know. So with 270,000 Kenyan shillings,
211,000 shillings.
Yeah, that is the equivalent of 1,500 euros, right?
What you can be able to get, person or a family of 3, what you can be able to get.
Let's start with a good house with a modern structure, modern how can you say
finishing?
Modern finishing, exactly. A good house can go for around for 2 bedroom, around 25,000 Kenyan shillings, right? You still have a lot of chunk from your 211,000,
yeah.
And then when
you can afford at least some good food,
right?
And if you are good enough with a consistent 200,000 shillings, you can save up a small amount for you to start another business other than the work the thing that is earning you 200,000 shillings.
Right.
You can set up a side hustle.
Right.
That in short, something else small.
You can, for a family of 3, you can survive with around 50,000 Kenyan shillings
to 200,000
in a month. You can survive with 50,000 and then save the rest, right? And this will give you the opportunity to also look into other opportunities to enhance and better your life, is what you are saying. But in America or the first world countries, how far can this money take you?
1,500 euros, it doesn't take you really far, especially after paying taxes.
Bills. Exactly. So guys, let us know. I feel like there are systems that have meant people from first world countries have really been lied to, and because
right now some of them, you know, are waking up and are making the move. Maybe the governments they have seen the shift. And you know, the thing that I said, that military usually knows something war before war comes to you. Maybe the government has already foreseen the huge migrations of their citizens to this other.
So guys, okay, personally I feel like what the brother talked about, the exit tax, like if it has only recently been introduced, okay, so that it can target the people who are trying to leave the UK, and it's also in Canada. You understand?
The same system he says is also in America. I don't know Americans, you can tell us this.
Yeah, and then you look at a situation, before I learned that point, you look at a situation where I remember Canadians were really complaining about immigrants who are going there, especially this group of people, they're brown. I don't know if they're Indians or Pakistanis. They were really complaining, and I saw videos.
I think it was Indians.
And I saw videos of them recording how Canada and Europe was slowly losing its identity, and it had begun to look like they're in the Middle East. Okay, so you guys, I don't know what you think about that. So a lot of immigrants are being allowed into these countries, but getting out is becoming very, very difficult as days go by. So right now it's really becoming difficult. Okay, right now, if you, according to how the brother explains, if you want to exit the UK, Canada, America, and you decide that you want to sell all your properties so that you can come, this tax has made it in such a way that it's going to be difficult for you to just decide, okay, it's my life, I want to up and live, let me sell everything, you know. And I'm like, you know, Babylon is trying to trap people inside, you know. Babylon
they know people will be looking for a way out. People have been told, get out when you can.
So people are looking for a way out, an easier option, the best option, you know. So I feel like they're trying to limit that for some reason. But guys, I don't know, I'd like to hear your opinion on this episode.
And please consider subscribing if you're new to this channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.